Hi folks, Denny over at TheraThink here, walking through another CPT code video guide. Today, we're using probably the most commonly used CPT code in mental health insurance billing, and that is CPT code 90837. This is going to be a time-based code for outpatient individual psychotherapy for 53 minutes or more, up to 89 minutes in length. So let's go ahead and talk through some do's and don'ts around this CPT code for billing. If you do have any questions about billing in general, you don't want this on your plate. I understand. It's not the most fun, but there are some solutions out there. One of them is hiring a billing service. If you'd like to reach out to us at TheraThink, you can do so. therathink.com/billing-service. It's a great way to reach out and set up a phone call. We'll talk directly, you and I, have a chat about your situation and potential solutions. We might not be a good fit. We might be a good fit. Depends on what you're looking for and the services that we do provide. So feel free to reach out if you don't want to deal with any of this BS, excuse my French. But if you are excited about insurance coding and billing, let's move on. Okay, so again, 90837, there are some myths around this code that insurance companies don't cover it. Not true, at least not true anymore. There had been a few different insurance brands that require it to obtain authorization for doing this CPT code, specifically Optum, United Healthcare, United Behavioral Health. With that being said, not anymore really. Every once in a while it happens, EP plans maybe, but it's important no matter what to call up and verify eligibility and benefits for the new clients that want to work with you. And during that phone call, part of what we do at TheraThink is ask directly about this CPT code. It's a good idea to ask about all the service codes that you're using when you're conducting your typical sessions, including potentially crisis therapy. So it's worth noting that from the outset to ensure that you are able to work with the clients that are looking to work with you. And you can solve some potential problems down the line, ensure that you're getting paid maximally, there aren't any issues by doing that one phone call. It's not fun, but it's really important to do. If there was one thing I would recommend providers do, that would be the one thing. That and write down a reference ID from that phone call. We do that, of course, as part of our service at TheraThink, but I, again, would just encourage you folks out there to go ahead and do that as well. So having done that and knowing that you can use 90837 for individual outpatient psychotherapy, let's dive into some specifics about it. So again, this is a time-based code, but there are a few different requirements for billing. Most importantly, it's just going to need to be representing an insight-oriented, behavior-modifying, supportive, or interactive therapy session. And this is really therapy 101. This is what you've been licensed for and gone to school for. So nothing new here. This is going to, again, represent most common and typical session working with an individual. Now, this is a time-based code, so if you are rendering services for less than 53 minutes, you do want to use 90834. We have a written guide as well as a video guide on coding for that CPT code. A few things also to note, this code does not cover things like social interaction, recreational therapy like dance, art, or play therapy, monitoring daily living activities, or teaching grooming skills. Those are based on Medicare's guidelines. Likewise, if you are working with clients with intellectual disabilities, there are other codes to be using instead of this individual therapy code. So again, in terms of the service length, we're going to do typically 53 minutes or more, up to 89 minutes in length. If you have any questions about what to do for billing longer than that, you can go ahead and Google Extended Sessions Billing Guide, TheraThink Extended Sessions Guide, or go to our website, look on the sidebar here, and we have a link to it. Let's just dive quickly into some reimbursement rates. Rates have been increasing over time. So CPT code for 90837, reimbursement rates from Medicare 2022, $164.84. Really pretty good. That's going to go ahead and actually be influenced though by your locality and region. So that will have an influence, and this is Medicare rate as well, so it's worth noting that commercial insurance policies will definitely vary in your reimbursement rates. It's always a good idea to reach out to your insurance company that you're working with and ask about your reimbursement rates. If you're in network, your contracted rate. For out of network, they might not be able to give you a quote as the rate is rendered and decided upon as EOBs are rendered. Any of these questions we do help with over at TheraThink to the best of our ability as well. So even if you don't have a fee schedule or your rates written down for your insurance companies that you're working with, we're able to go ahead and get a hold of those companies and find that out for you. Typically, the main difference between using 90834 and 90837 for these CPT codes is going to just be time, the time rendered. And so it's just worth noting that these are going to vary and be based primarily on time. And likewise, if you are extending your sessions beyond that 89 minutes in length, you're going to want to use 99354 and then 99355 for even longer sessions. We do have that extended billing guide over it there, I think. We also have some information here, a nice table that makes it a little bit easier for you to see. So you can just look on the right here and see, okay, I was in therapy for 2 hours and 30 minutes, so I'm going to use the base code of 90837 and then the add-on codes 99354 and 99355, right? So we try to make this a little bit easier, spelling things out in English for you. Add-on codes do have reimbursement amounts as well, and these have increased over time, so worth noting as well. It does depend, though, for commercial insurance policies on the insurance company. And again, it's going to be a good idea to go ahead and call and ask. It's always a good idea. License levels. This is one of those sessions that most licensed mental health providers are able to conduct one of these services. Excuse me. So you should know in your licensing that this is going to be your kind of core service offering. I did mention United Healthcare as well. And really that covers it. I mean, if this isn't particularly complex, using this code isn't going to be something that's super complex. Maybe for your first session, you're going to want to use an evaluation intake code on an ongoing basis. You'll be rendering 90834 or 37 depending on your client's time length and sessions. And then every once in a while, you're going to be using some of those unique codes that are just-in-time codes like crisis therapy, things like that. Hopefully this has been helpful and useful for you folks listening and watching. If you found some value in it, go ahead and click on the like button and subscribe. And if you do want more information about billing, we have quite a few written guides over at therathink.com. You can check out our reimbursement rates for therapy and psychiatrists, mental health professionals in general, CPT code guides for all of the major CPT codes, as well as for psychiatrists conducting EM sessions. We do have a beginner's guide for mental health billing, as well as a telehealth billing guide. And then we do have quite a few tools here that are available. Rate negotiation tool is always a really useful tool to generate a template for your billing. Diagnosis finder and CPT code finder, an intake template, and cheat sheet. Feel free to reach out to us over at therathink.com with any questions that you might have, and appreciate you watching. Thanks.